When summertime comes, there's one thing we all want. Water. And shade. And AC. And then moving on. Either way, refreshing and cold water. Especially if we live in places that are too humid or overly hot. Kinda like me in Tucson, Arizona. Blech. And if you don't live near a lake, a river, or an ocean, I bet there's at least one swimming pool near your place where you can go for a dip to deal with the scorching heat of the summer months. However, swimming pools are not always the best place to be. When the conditions aren't right, they can easily turn into the scenarios of chaotic events that will make you wish you would stay out of the water regardless of how hot it can be. Today we're going to be looking at 10 scariest swimming pools you won't believe exist. We're gonna have a look at some of the craziest pool ideas that people came up with, and you'll find out that a lot of them seem dangerous, but they're actually pretty safe. And you'll also find out that some of them look normal and harmless, but they've actually been the cause of some unfortunate accidents. Number 10. Holiday Inn Shanghai Pudong Kanghui, Shanghai, China. When you're in a city, your options for swimming are pretty limited. For that reason, urban hotels come up with all sorts of ideas to give their customers a great place to refresh and escape the stress of the metropolitan life. But the owners of the Holiday Inn in Shanghai took their ideas to a whole different level. Quite literally. They decided to make a glass-bottom pool on the 24th floor of their facilities. In other words, you pretty much get to swim and relax above the busy streets underneath. But can that be relaxing at all? I mean, what if the glass breaks and you're already terrified of heights? You don't need that fear too. That does sound a bit stressful and worrying, but even though this pool is literally hanging above ground level, there's really nothing to worry about. The layers of glass are thick enough to stand your weight and the weight of the water. Number 9. Sky Condos, Peru. One of the best things about living in a high building is the nice views you get from your room. In Lima, Peru, you can get breathtaking views of this South American city from the top of their prestigious sky condos. This place is so nice and exclusive that every resident in the building pretty much gets their own swimming pool. And not just any kind of pool, it's a floating pool. They don't have glass bottoms like the one in China, but the idea of swimming and floating at the top of a nice city surely does sound pretty nice. Now, the scary thing about this pool is not necessarily the fact that you're floating in mid-air, but the fact that this zone of South America is known for its constant earthquakes. I'm sure modern architecture ensures residents that nothing bad will happen to them, but it'd still be pretty scary to be caught in the middle of an earthquake while swimming in one of these pools. Number 8. The Edge, Bali, Indonesia. Bali, Indonesia is known for its lush jungle, its paradisal beaches, and the warm personalities of the people that inhabit the island. But it seems like the beautiful nature is not enough for the visitors that come to the island. For that reason, a lot of beach clubs have popped up all around the island, offering singular experiences to anyone who decides to visit. One of them is the 180-Day Club, which is part of a prestigious resort in the southernmost part of the island, in an area called Uluwatu. The resort is called The Edge, and that pretty much sums up the description of this part of the island. You're literally at the edge of the island, on a cliff landscape overlooking the Indian Ocean. It's in this day club that you can find a bottom glass pool from which you can enjoy the views of this part of the island while swimming and hoping that the glass underneath doesn't break. In order to keep things peaceful and neat, they have a few rules such as no climbing, sitting or standing on the glass edges of the pool, and personally, I'm okay with that as I'd hate to see a deadly tragedy happening in this holiday spot. Number 7. San Alfonso del Mar, Chile. Next on this list, we have a pool that holds the record as the longest one in the world, and you've seen it in tons of other videos about pools. I guess we're gonna keep it that way until a bigger pool shows up on our radar. This pool is 1.03 kilometers long, and it takes up 8 hectares of space. Mind you, that's like putting 8 football fields together. This is big enough to allow people to practice things like diving, windsurfing, sailing, and other fun water sports that you probably can't practice at your regular pool. The pool is part of a resort complex called San Alfonso del Mar, which overlooks the Pacific Ocean. There are 1,300 apartments and 11 different buildings, and each building comes with its own set of pools, ocean views, and its own access to the larger pool. They say there's about 250 million gallons of seawater in this pool. Even though the pool is inside a closed community, it's still vulnerable to accidents. A few years ago, a teenager drowned in the facilities of the resort. However, the authorities claimed that the kid was swimming at a time when there were no lifeguards around. Number 6. Golden Nugget, Las Vegas, USA. You don't have to go scuba diving to swim with some of the scariest creatures in the world. Apparently, you can also do it at Las Vegas at this place called the Golden Nugget. The extravagant casino is home to a very exotic and peculiar pool in which you can swim surrounded by pools. There is also, of course, the ravenously hungry animals, and the only thing between you and these hungry animals is a layer of glass thick enough to protect you, but clear enough to see the sharp teeth and hungry eyes of these animals. It's said that it costs around $30 million to make this pool, including the shark tank. And if you want to elevate the thrill of this experience, you can go down the 3-story high water slide that will send you right in the middle of the tank before you get back in the pool. Number 5. Y40 Italy. And here's another pool that you've seen in other videos before. The Y40 was specifically designed for those who want to practice their diving skills. In fact, this is the perfect place to do so, as it is now considered the deepest pool in the world. It is highly recommended that only brave and experienced swimmers dive inside this pool, because in order to get to the bottom you'll have to swim down for the same distance it would take you to get to the top of a 10-story building. Prior to your dive, you'll be asked to sign a waiver to release the owners from taking responsibility for anything that goes wrong during your swim. In other words, you swim at your own risk. They will help you, of course, but you can't blame them if things get out of control. At the bottom of the pool, you can explore a network of tunnels, and there's also a window from which you can say hi to tourists who want to watch you from the outside. Some swimmers haven't been able to make it back to the surface due to a decompression sickness that happens to people who push themselves too quickly to the surface from the depths of the waters. So, if you decide to take a swim here, make sure you can hold your breath long enough to go down and up for 43 meters. Number 4. Bandra Om Tower Balcony Pools, Mumbai, India. For those of you who don't know it, the Om is the symbol of electrical resistance in the International System of Units. This symbol was also the inspiration for one of the most luxurious residential towers in Mumbai. The tower has the same shape as the Om symbol, and it promises to be one of the most impressive forms of modern architecture. But other than its shape, the thing that impresses people the most about this place is its balcony pools on each floor. If you look at it from aerial photos, it looks as if the residents could fall to their deaths at any moment. I'm sure they're safe, but it's definitely impressive to see all these balcony pools stacked on top of each other. Number 3. Sky Park at Marina Bay Sands, Singapore. Infinity pools are trending, but the most popular of them all are the one at the top of Singapore's Marina Bay Sands. This pool is about 3 times the size of an Olympic pool, and it offers its visitors one of the best views of this modern city. It is right next to the Gardens by the Bay, and just a few minutes away from downtown, which means that you get to see a lot of cool light shows and other spectacular sights every night. I must mention that this pool is about 200 meters above ground, which might make some people uncomfortable, especially if they swim to the edge of the infinity. But there's honestly so much going on that you'll probably just want to kick back and relax. Now it's time for the day's best pick. It seems like most of these pools are scary due to the fact that they're very high above the ground, but that's not the only thing that can make a pool feel pretty scary. Sometimes what makes a pool scary is the amount of people that go in at the same time. For example, in the picture I chose for today, you can see an overcrowded pool. What was meant to be a fun day under the sun now looks like a nightmare that we all want to avoid. Let's check it out with number 2. The wave pool at Yulong Shuiyun Water Amusement Park. Not everyone has the privilege to live so close to the ocean. For that reason, many water parks have a space with a wave pool, which allows many people to enjoy the ocean experience without having to go too far from their homes. The Yulong Shuiyun Water Park is one of them, and they have a pretty cool wave pool. However, back in 2019, a huge wave crashed into a multitude of tourists to the point that everyone had to get out of the park. And I know wave pools are supposed to be a bit thrilling, but this wave was actually larger than any other wave they'd seen before. Essentially, it was an artificial tsunami, and 44 people got injured because of it. Thankfully though, nobody did die, but it's definitely not the kind of wave pool experience that we would like to have. Before we move on, do me a favor. My analytics show that only about 15% of you watching are actually subscribed. Come on guys, what's up with that? Can you guys please hit the subscribe button? You guys watch my videos every day anyway, so you might as well subscribe and keep up to date with every video we put out. Number 1. Sky Habitat, Singapore. It seems like Singapore is going to be at the top of the infinity pool experience for a very long time. Besides the pool at Marina Bay Sands, they now have the Sky Habitat. This is a residential complex with a massive pool that serves as a bridge between the buildings. Surely this spot brings its exclusive residents a unique view of the city, while it also allows them to swim and float above the ground at the highest point of the 38-story building. The experience does sound very scary, but it also looks really luxurious. If any of you get to actually swim here, make sure you let us know what it feels like. What do you think of these pools? And what's the scariest or weirdest pool you've ever been to? Let us know in the comments section down below. With all that said and done, that's our video for the day, folks, and I will see you all next time. Later, everybody.